Well, we're only a few weeks away from the 2024 NHL Draft. We saw Macklin Celebrini go number 1, but it's already time to turn the page. We're looking to 2025 already, and we're going to be tracking this class very, very soon. In fact, the first draft events happen in July going into August, so there is no rest for the prospect writers, and that is why we're going to make sure that we give you a head start on the 2025 NHL Draft with our way too early top 10 players. Now, we released this on FloHockey.tv in written form a few weeks ago, and now I'm going to give you a little bit more explanation about the players that you need to know about for the 2025 NHL Draft. And it starts with James Hagens. We've been following him for the last couple of years in the National Team Development Program. The center from Long Island, New York, is going to Boston College next season. So he will be traveling that same path of Macklin Celebrini, playing college hockey in his draft season. And is he ever an exciting talent? Over 100 points last season for the National Team Development Program, their under-18 team. The all-time record scoring leader at the under-18 World Championship in a single tournament. Silver medal for Team USA. But Hagens was dominant at that event. So that sets the table for this season. The expectation is that he'll probably be Boston College's number 1 center, replacing Will Smith from last season. Both Will Smith and Cutter Gauthier moved on to pro hockey. So James Hagens is going to get an opportunity, probably with Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard. That's going to allow him to be in a position to put up a lot of points. And it's also going to allow both Leonard and Perreault to maintain their high level of production. And there are also a couple of players that will very likely be key players at the World Junior Championship. And James Hagens, who just missed out on last year's team, will get that opportunity more than likely this season. So what makes Hagens special? It's the hockey sense, it's the skating ability, it's the skill. All of those things combined allow him to be a very difficult player to play against. He thinks the game at a high level, and he makes a lot of plays. He makes everyone around him better, and he also has that ability to score himself, which I think is going to be very important. Much more of a playmaker than a goal scorer, but he does both things pretty darn well, and that's going to be a very key factor. What he's going to need to do, continue to get stronger, because he is not going to go into this season with the same solidification of number 1 status that Macklin Celebrini did in 2024. No, sir. He is going to need to be ready for the competition that is coming his way, and it will be coming in the form of a couple of players I think are the most likely to challenge him for number 1 going into next season. We start with Swedish center Anton Frondell. Now, Frondell was an absolute menace last season at the U20 level, despite being an underage player. He also played for Sweden's U18 team at the Five Nations tournament last winter and was one of the most dominant players on the ice, and that includes James Hagens, who was in that very tournament. So Frondell is a guy that has size, he has strength, he has power, and unfortunately he got injured at the end of last season, which didn't allow him to play in the under-18 World Championship, where we would have seen him against his fellow number 1 contenders. But this season, where he looked his best was at that under-18 level, where he was that dominant force. But he also played some pro hockey, and the fact that he was 16 years old playing at the pro level with Djurgården is really important as well. Then, unfortunately, he got hurt playing U20 hockey in Djurgården's U20 team, and that is where his season ended in February. So this is a player that we're really looking forward to seeing at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, also moving into the pro season, expecting to get a lot of pro reps this year. He has the size, the strength, the hockey sense, the compete, all of those things. And then he also has that skill level to go with it. So he's a very exciting talent. But don't count out Porter Martone. He was the captain of Canada's team at the Under-18 World Championship, led them to a gold medal there. Second highest scoring season or tournament for a Canadian player by Porter Martone. He also was a dominant force at the OHL level with the Mississauga Steelheads last season. And this is a player that has the size, he has the hockey sense, he has the playmaking ability, the vision, all of those things. He is an exceptional talent and a player that we're really looking forward to seeing at the OHL level this year. He's going to challenge for a spot on Canada's World Junior team. We're expecting to see him at the World Junior Summer Showcase, where FloHockey will be providing extensive coverage. And this is going to be the first step for him in what is expected to be a very strong draft season. So he's a player to watch out for sure. Rounding out our top 10, you've got Ivan Ryabkin. We've got another top-tier Russian talent. He actually outscored Matvei Michkov's U17 scoring mark that he set at the MHL level. Now, the MHL, it's not necessarily the best level of junior hockey, but when you see a player at 16 years old leading that league in scoring, it's pretty darn impressive, and especially when you're beating out players like Michkov. And then, of course, Ivan Demidov led the entire MHL in scoring last year, but Ryabkin led his age group. We've also got an exceptional status player in this draft class, Michael Misa. He was granted exceptional status to go into the OHL a year early. He checks in at number 5 on our list. He's definitely kind of fallen behind the age group a little bit, but at the same time, you still see the skill. You see the hockey sense. He just won a Memorial Cup with the Saginaw Spirit. So it's going to be his team going forward, and we're going to see how he takes the reins there. But he's at number 5. Another big player that you got to keep an eye on at number 6 on our list, Roger McQueen of the Brandon Wheat Kings. 6'5". He is a behemoth, but he also has skill. He can skate well for his size. He's got that upside. And I think a lot of teams, as we saw in the draft last year, size was a factor. So keep an eye on him. Our top defenseman checks in at number 7 on the list, and that is Matthew Schaefer. Schaefer plays for the Erie Otters in the OHL. He has those dynamic qualities that we're seeing in today's NHL defenseman. I think that he's got the offensive capability, but he also takes care of things defensively. The skating is breathtaking. The mobility is outstanding. And clearly the hockey sense is there as well. He's gone through some personal adversity in the last year. Very much looking forward to what he's going to bring to the table, you know, with this next season, with another year under his belt, more experience. Didn't have amazing numbers last year, but I'm expecting him to be very productive this season. Another defenseman to keep an eye on. He was in the USHL last season. He will be in the NCAA this season. That's Sasha Boumedian, who played for the Youngstown Phantoms. Next year, he'll be playing for Boston University. Lanky defenseman, bomb of a shot, really solid defensively, made the transition very smoothly into the USHL last season. He accelerated his schooling to enter BU a year early. Very much looking forward to what he brings to the table as a true freshman defenseman. There are going to be challenges for him as he needs to get stronger, but as we saw in the USHL last season, he is mentally prepared to play at that level of hockey. Lastly, a couple of forwards to keep an eye on. Power forwards, guys with some size, guys with some tenacity. William Moore from the National Team Development Program and Malcolm Spence of the Erie Otters. Two big names on that 2025 list, guys that have some power forward capabilities. Spence in particular has some pedigree with a Holinka Gretzky win and a World Under-18 gold medal. So we have seen him do it in a variety of ways. Meanwhile, William Moore, I think it's a huge upside bet. He's committed to Boston College, not next year, but the year after. We'll see how he performs at the National Team Development Program next year throughout the season in the USHL and beyond. We've got so much 2025 NHL draft content coming your way this year, but let's get the jump start now. Hope this helps you get ready as we look forward to the 2025 NHL draft. It's only a little under a year away, so let's get excited about it now. That's going to do it for today's video. I'm Chris Peters. This is Flow Sports. We'll catch you soon.